right, Kenny has a question here. I have two heights in front. Is it big difference to move them directly above me?
Is that the only speakers that he has?
I think that's what he means.
It's just two heights?
Two heights. No, he probably has ear levels, but he has two heights.
Right? No, what I'm saying is only height speakers are the two in front.
Yeah, I think so.
Is it just kind of slightly in front of you? Is it all the way in the front? Because
those are
I need to know how far in front.
Because I know with Dolby's 5.1.2, LOL, sorry. But with Dolby, I think their recommended 512 is to have the heights above the listening area. Yeah, he says front wall. He says front wall. Okay, so
that'll sound weird because they expect the 0.2 to be kind of like where the top height, or what do they call top? I always get them mixed up. What do they call the middle height?
The middle height, top middle.
They expect it to be kind of near the top middle, which is tricky because if you end up getting 4, you don't want it there anymore.
Yeah,
you want to move them.
You want to move them to the front wall.
So my recommendation has typically been, this is what I recommended earlier, and this might be controversial, but I think that minimum 4 height speakers is what you need to get that movement, that's the perception of something moving around, and at least in a circle, some kind of circular pattern, square, whatever, it needs to have some movement, because if you only have 2, it only moves left and right for the most part. If it's panned hard, to the height speakers. If they pan it down a little bit, then it can use your other speakers to kind of give you the perception where there's something high, but it's still moving in a circle. They can do that. Hopefully they do that. That's probably the best, safest way to do it if you're going to mix in Atmos. If you have it panned all the way to the top and somebody only has 2, like the helicopter demo for Atmos, it only goes left. Yeah. It's going like this.
Yeah. Ideally you would want at least 4 so that you have the front, back, and left and right movement up in the height channels. Because with just 2, you only have the left and right. I know. I had it.
I did too. I did.
I had 512 upstairs. That's how it started. And I thought it was the coolest thing until I got 2 more high channels. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I've been missing out. And yeah.
So here's the controversial recommendation is, if you can't do 4 height for right now, just because if you drill holes in the ceiling, cut holes where they're supposed to be, and then you decide, hey, I want to add only two more, what are you going to do? Now that's in the wrong place. So what I would say is maybe just consider some upfiring ones, but set up behind you. Don't put them in front of you. Because my experiment was, I tried some upfiring speakers, or set up some upfiring speakers. When they're in front of you, you can always tell, because your ears are so good at hearing in front of you. You can always hear the slight that it's coming from that speaker, and then maybe there's a reflection up on top, but you don't hear that. What you hear is like that's making a sound, and something else is happening up there also. But when it's behind you or to the side surround, and you have some upfiring speakers, because it's behind you, you're not hearing that
shaped the way they're shaped.
Because you're gonna hear it as like, you're not gonna hear the initial source.
Right.
You will hear the bounce only
ceiling source.
Yeah, and that is much more realistic from what I found. And I've done the whole thing, so I've had it behind here, and then I turned around to face it. I'm like, oh, I can tell the speaker's there now. Turn back around. Oh, it sounds like it's coming from above. So my recommendation would be, if you can't do 4 height, maybe consider doing some upfiring speakers, but have them set up at the side surrounds or behind you.
We'll see.
And then when you can do 4 or 6, then go 4 or 6.
And here's the thing, Kenny. He needs a new receiver, right? And when you get up to a minimum 9-channel receiver, you're at 1200 minimum, right? So I know that's the biggest barrier. I remember I was at this deal in New Orleans, Sound United. They're talking about, hey, blah blah blah, and I was like, if right now you can buy a Denon receiver for $500 that's got 7 channels, and everybody always asks me, hey, can I use zone 2 pre-outs for another 2 height channels to do the rear ones? I'm like, no, unfortunately, you need to get a 9 channel, an AVR that processes 9 channel. But you go from 500 to now 1500 just to get those extra 2. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Just to get those 2 things, Kenny. It's a huge price jump.
Make sure to join us every Monday for our live stream at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/Daily HiFi.